Sophie Cunningham was flat out targeted by a dirty player. Can continue to survive these things. Here you see Sophie Cunningham laid out on the floor, holding her knee. The lady was in tears, crying as Lexi Hall approached her to help her.
Immediately, first, look at this. Instantly into the game. Immediately. They had a target to hurt Sophie. She was targeted by this team.
How does a season that started with so much hype turn into one of the ugliest cautionary tales in professional basketball? Just a few months ago, Indiana Fever fans were buzzing. They had Caitlin Clark, the most anticipated rookie in years, Sophie Cunningham as a gritty mid-season addition, and a team that seemed ready to shake up the WNBA. But in a blink, the excitement has spiraled into disaster.
Just sums up everything. Like, we weren't going to win this game if Sophie Cunningham was healthy. This isn't like, oh, we lost because of a Sophie Cunningham injury. We were down 17 points when she got injured. This happens.
First, Clark went down. Then role players dropped one by one. And just when Fever fans thought it couldn't possibly get worse, Sophie Cunningham collapsed on the floor in agony after colliding with Bria Hartley. Her family spoke out. Fans lit up social media. And the whispers about dirty play spread faster than wildfire.
And it looked like Stephanie White is extremely emotional after this hard-fought game. Sophie Cunningham family is extremely pissed off.
But this story isn't just about one injury. It's about a wave of chaos, a league under pressure, and a season that feels cursed. So let's break down how the Fever went from hopeful to hopeless, and why Sophie's injury was the tipping point that shook the WNBA.
It's just emotional, guys. I'm hella mad. Hartley need to be suspended on a major level completely. Probably at this point, she's more dirtier than Dejanay Carrington.
Every great collapse has warning signs. And for the Indiana Fever, the warning signs weren't subtle. They were flashing neon lights. Caitlin Clark, the golden rookie who was supposed to carry the franchise into a new era, has barely seen the floor. After a hot start, she was sidelined by groin and quad injuries that kept her out of more than 3/4 of the season.
They wanted to hurt Sophie. They made it their business to hurt Sophie. And that's exactly what they did, was hurt Sophie. And I'm hella mad.
For the most hyped rookie in league history, missing over 75% of the year is nothing short of catastrophic. But it wasn't just Clark. Sydney Colson, a veteran guard who was supposed to provide stability, tore her ACL and was ruled out for the year. Ari McDonald broke her foot, joining the growing list of unavailable backcourt players.
Sophie's sister Lindsay and her mom Paula. At WNBA, maybe you should focus less on fining players for commenting on your poor officiating and more about hiring officials that are able to call a consistent game, protect your athletes.
At one point, the Fever's guard rotation looked less like a professional roster and more like a patchwork lineup thrown together at a rec league gym. By the time August rolled around, fans weren't even surprised anymore when a Fever player limped off the court. It had become a dark running joke. Every week brought a new injury report, a new headline about another setback.
And Sophie's mother, Paula, Hartley is a disgruntled player having trouble everywhere she goes. She's playing mean and plays out of control.
What was supposed to be a season of development had turned into what fans dubbed the year from hell. And just when everyone thought the worst had already happened, Sophie Cunningham took center stage, only this time not for the reasons anyone wanted.
To Sophie, and fans can't bear to see it.
This is Hartley right here coming
she tries
in.
To slide over right there, and Hartley just kind of falls
and
and
she
crushes
in on the knee of Sophie right here.
She went down.
August 17, Fever versus Connecticut Sun. What should have been just another late-season matchup turned into a turning point for the entire league. Early in the game, Bria Hartley drove into the paint. Sophie Cunningham slid over to contest. What followed looked like a routine collision, until Sophie crumpled to the floor, clutching her right knee. Fans watching instantly knew this wasn't a minor tweak. Sophie's reaction said it all. She grabbed at her kneecap, grimacing in pain, and the entire arena seemed to freeze.
It's a patella injury. Normally, people will hold higher in their knee if it's a knee ligament injury. It looks like she might have either broke or either ruptured her patella.
It wasn't the kind of fall that players bounce back from in a few minutes. This was serious. Sophie wasn't just another name on the roster. She had become the Fever's mid-season spark. The player willing to dive for loose balls, defend the opponent's best scorer, and bring the kind of fire the team desperately lacked. She was the energy engine, the vocal presence, the one hyping up Caitlin Clark when the rookie looked isolated.
Sophie did not deserve any of that happened to her today, and it is very, very unfortunate, man.
Losing her wasn't just about losing points or rebounds, it was about losing heart. The diagnosis came swiftly, a torn MCL in her right knee. Season over. Just like that, the Fever's toughest player, the glue holding together a fragile roster, was erased from the equation. And as if the injury wasn't devastating enough, the circumstances ignited a firestorm.
Sophie Cunningham out for the year. How can this team continue to survive? We bring in Eric McDonald because of injuries. And who would have thought? Caitlin Clark would be out most of the year. Sophie Cunningham will have a season-ending injury.
Because here's where things get wild. Less than 2 weeks after the collision that ended Sophie's season, Bria Hartley, the very player involved in that play, was herself ruled out for the year. This time, it was a torn meniscus in her right knee. For fans already furious about Sophie's injury, the irony was too sharp to ignore. Social media exploded with claims of karma, poetic justice, and even conspiracy theories.
I told you guys this girl was a dirty player, and that's all she did today was show how dirty she is. This is unfortunate. I don't know how the Indiana Fever...
One player takes out another, and then fate strikes back just days later. To fans, it felt like the universe was writing a twisted script. But Hartley's story isn't just about this one moment. She's battled injuries throughout her career, torn ligaments, time lost, and now another season-ending blow.
She is a dirty, dirty player. She pulled Angel Reese out of air by her ponytail. Angel Reese is ready to fight. Just last game, I think 2 days ago.
For athletes, the line between toughness and fragility is razor thin, and Hartley has lived that reality over and over. The narrative writes itself. The player some fans labeled reckless is now sidelined herself. Some saw it as balance, others saw it as tragedy, stacked on tragedy. But for the WNBA, the bigger issue wasn't irony, it was optics. 2 guards, both gone, both in high-profile fashion in the same stretch of the season.
I don't know if it's her knee. I don't know if it's her Achilles, the way she was kind of dragging her foot. I don't know. But Bria Hartley has had dirty plays all season. But you got to know who we're talking about.
The league's injury crisis wasn't slowing down, it was accelerating. As the dust settled, the question became, was Hartley's collision dirty or just bad luck? Fans had plenty to say, and most of it was heated. Twitter feeds lit up with slow-motion replays and angry captions. Posts accused Hartley of targeting, of being reckless, of ending Sophie's season deliberately, but Sophie Cunningham herself shut it down. On Instagram, she publicly defended Hartley, calling it a basketball play. She doubled down by saying Hartley was her friend, making it clear there was no bad blood.
Reality, you know, because she is somebody's daughter, she is somebody's sister, and this is just unfortunate. And those of you who don't think a civil rights investigation need to be brought upon this league is tripping. This civil rights investigation...
In a league where rivalries and trash talk often dominate headlines, Sophie's response was rare, calm, gracious, and direct. Still, fans weren't ready to let go. They pointed to Hartley's past physical plays and insisted there was a pattern. Online debates spiraled. Clips of unrelated hard fouls were stitched together, building a narrative that Hartley was the WNBA's villain.
Do you think the refs called any fouls? No, they didn't. These refs are clowns. These referees are clowns.
Whether fair or not, perception often outweighs reality, and in this case, perception had taken over. What made Sophie's response stand out even more is that she chose peace when she easily could have fueled the fire. And while her words calmed some, the broader conversation only grew louder.
Lexi Hull hit a big 3 that was the dagger at the end. Aaliyah Boston, 7 of 13, 14 points, 13 boards, a double-double there, added 5 assists.
By now, the frustration wasn't just about Hartley. It was bigger. Fans were fed up with the sheer volume of injuries around the league. They weren't wrong. Star after star had gone down this season, from Caitlin Clark to Alyssa Thomas to multiple Fever guards. The casualty list kept growing. The outrage started shifting toward the league itself. Why were players breaking down at this rate? Was the schedule too compact? Was the officiating failing to protect athletes? Was the league doing enough to invest in player safety and medical resources?
In the beginning of this game, Sophie Cunningham is bringing the ball up the floor. She gets mugged, hit upside the head, knocked to the floor while dribbling the ball up the floor, 75 feet away from the rim.
The truth is, some of the loudest claims online weren't rooted in fact. There was no evidence of conspiracies, no official accusations of players being targeted, but the anger felt real, and it reflected deeper frustrations fans have had for years. In a league fighting for more respect, more resources, and more spotlight, seeing its biggest names sidelined again and again felt like sabotage from within. The Sophie-Hartley collision became a symbol, a shorthand for everything wrong. And while Sophie herself refused to blame Hartley, the fans weren't nearly as forgiving. So what does all this mean for the Fever? In one word, disaster. With Clark sidelined for most of the year, with Coulson and McDonald gone, and now with Sophie out, the Fever's backcourt has been shredded beyond recognition.
Kathy Engelberg, wake the hell up. Half of your league is hurt now. Who would have thought? How do the Indiana Fever, Bria Hartley, you are a dirty, low-down dog of a player, you.
The team that once had optimism is now limping into the final stretch with no real chance of salvaging the season. The question hanging over everything is Caitlin Clark. Could she return before the season ends? And if she does, should she? On paper, having Clark back would electrify the fan base and boost TV ratings. But does it make sense to risk her health for a team with no playoff hope? That's the dilemma hanging over Indiana like a storm cloud. Every game without her feels like borrowed time, and every loss reinforces the sense that this season is already over. The Fever aren't just losing games. They're losing momentum, trust, and morale. Fans have gone from hopeful to heartbroken, from cheering to doom-scrolling. The Fever's season is no longer about wins and losses. It's about survival, about figuring out whether their stars can come back stronger, about whether this team has a future after the wreckage of 2025.
Wonder why there's so many goddamn injuries all over the league, because you are allowing people to play rugby and football and do UFC moves in the middle of a basketball game.
And that's what makes Sophie Cunningham's injury so much bigger than just another player going down. It's the symbol of a cursed season, a reminder of how fragile the league's brightest hopes can be, and a warning sign the WNBA can't afford to ignore. Because if Caitlin Clark doesn't return, if Sophie's loss lingers into next year, and if fans keep losing faith, the Fever's season from hell might end up being remembered as something even worse, the year the dream cracked under pressure. So what do you think? Can Caitlin Clark risk coming back to save the Fever, or is this season already beyond saving? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's get the debate going, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more breakdowns just like this one.